All right, so we're day 5 now. I was told I need to get my face in these shots a little more because people want to see people. So got my this is the little GoPro that I've been doing the time-lapse film with, mainly so I can just set it and kind of forget it. I noticed that it'll do about 3 hours of time-lapse before the battery runs dead. I know that the GoPros in general are really a higher res camera meant for a lot of action shots. So I'll flip this around here and we'll see what I did last night of my last night's work. And now I'm gonna find a place to set up my GoPro to hopefully have some good vantage points, and we'll get going today. Alright, it's about 9 a.m. here. Just finished up the far side of the concrete forms. I should say the footings. So there, at the moment, this is just the footings. At this point, my plan is to put some steel in it, and once I have a little steel in it, then I'll go ahead and put the rest of my forms for the footings on there, and then reinforce everything. It's all where it should be right now, footing wise, but definitely doesn't meet enough strength yet. If I were to pour a wall on top of that as a monopore, it'd probably blow out the forms. But I'm going to put the rest kind of a 2x6 for a cap to kind of get the H or upside down T kind of effect going on. So when I do the bracing, I don't want that to be in the way of that. And so there you go. I got a quick work thing to take care of. So hopefully it won't take too long, but I'm gonna have to disconnect the truck first from the trailer. And there you go. See you in a while. So real quick, I don't have rebar tools proper, so what I'm planning on doing is clamping it in the vise, and then I'm gonna slip that chunk of black pipe over the rebar, use it like a handle, and then bend my 90s with that and everything else, and then I just have a portaband for cutting. So anyhow, just thought I would show that quick before I get going, because there's going to be a lot of little steps and bends and everything else to get this all together. And when I get to the turns, I'm going to cut a little notch in the form boards, so for the rebar. So there you go. All right, first little bit of bar is in here. So I am 100% overdoing it with the rebar. So being that I'm going to monopore, which is meaning pouring it all at once, the wall and the footing, I don't need these vertical ones, which are the floppy ones here. But it's a little shout out to Ziggy, which was a customer of mine I did put in a backup generator for. He was pouring some concrete while I was waiting for the inspector, and he said steel's cheap, redoing concrete is expensive. Right, it is 4:30, and I have all of these little upright supports done. So kind of see, I figured since the house was already here, it wouldn't be half bad to end up supporting my forms for the concrete wall that was going to sit on it. So got all these forms, uprights every 4 feet going down. So the next step, I'm gonna put some cross braces down on the bottom, kind of 45-degree kind of cross braces to make sure that our forms don't blow out on the bottom. Because the nice thing is that I'm not going to be pouring this super fast. I'm not going to have a 10-yard dump or cement truck come in and do this. I'll mix it up myself. So it won't be that as much of a risk. But if you were to just take, once this is all formed up, and just start in one end and fill it up to the other, the taller your wall got, the more pressure that's going to put at the bottom, and it'll end up just blowing your forms apart, and you'll end up having concrete everywhere. What'll end up happening is I'll end up kind of working probably from the deep side across, and I'm gonna fill in the bottom forms kind of going down, and then come back to the far end here and just continue filling it up kind of in layers or lifts. And what that does is by the time I get to the far end, this near side, it won't be cured or hard, but it'll be a lot stiffer than when I first poured it. So everything should adhere fine, and I actually put this extra rebar in there as well, just to triple make sure. But that bottom concrete will form up, stiffen up a little bit, because these little gaps and whatnot that I have underneath the forms and here and there, the concrete might kind of fill them, but not really gush through them unless you put a bunch of pressure behind it, kind of like a Jello or something, or cake batter, but it'll kind of fill up those voids, and it'll kind of start to harden a little bit, and then when the next layer goes on it, that'll be a little stiffer, so it won't push out so much. So next step I'm going to do is I'm going to brace the bottom of our forms, and then I'm going to start putting boards on it, and I'm going to screw from the outside in. That's the other thing to be careful of. You can't have a screw head on the inside of the forms, because once the concrete's poured, you'll never be able to get the screw out, or the nail, or anything else kind of fastener you're going to use. So here you go. There he is, helping away. Gonna make sure he gets those pliers back in his pocket. Yep, there you go.